Hey now, Brawlers, it's time for another Board Game Brawl review with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com.
Hey peeps, today we're going to, I was going to say take a look at, but we're actually going to just discuss the newest expansion for Time Stories, one of my favorite games, and that is Expedition Endurance. Now, I'll say right up front, this is completely riddled with spoilers. We're just going right into it. I want to talk about what goes on in this expansion. Maybe some other people who have played it also want to talk about it and discuss and commiserate about what they liked, what they didn't like, what they liked about the story, and so on and so forth. If you're familiar with Time Stories, though, having that spoiled completely ruins it for you. So, at least if you haven't played it at least once. So, with that in mind, this is your last chance, your only chance to get out. I get shit about this all the time. Like, why would you do a review for a game that can't be spoiled? Because I just want to talk about it. If you don't want to hear about it, get out. Piss off. For those of you that are still here, though, hi. we'll talk about it. Alright, they should be gone. Now, Expedition Endurance is the newest expansion, and this one takes place during World War I, which I think is a very interesting time period, especially since it has nothing to actually do with World War I. Rather, you're on a freighter in the Antarctic, and that's pretty cool to me. I will say right off the bat, I'm still disappointed that there isn't more of the alternate universe Time Stories. They've only had the one, I think, which was the fantasy one, the Prophecy of Dragons. That's my favorite one. That one I love for a lot of reasons. It's huge epic scope to it. And so I didn't necessarily want, I don't need another epic one again so soon necessarily, although that'd be nice. But something that's in an alternate universe would have been pretty cool. I suppose we will get that sooner rather than later. But for now, we have another one set in our modern timeline continuum. And so we'll just get this out of the way. It's Cthulhu. And I rolled my eyes when I found out that's what it was going to be, which you find out very, very, very early on. As soon as you're going through the thing with Bob and he's unfurling what your mission objectives are going to be, and then you're reading off the card and it says, put out the Insanity deck. I'm like, okay, here we are. And I rolled my eyes, but you know what? It actually does work here. I think I would have preferred, though. So you're in the Antarctic, and there's creepy things going on, and there's people who are going mad, and there's people who can't be trusted, and you don't know if they've been compromised. Wouldn't that have been a better time to do an homage to The Thing? That would have been so cool, right? But they didn't. They did Cthulhu because it's public domain and it's easy. So that's what we're stuck with. But having said that, thematically, it works. Like it's very creepy. They do a very good job in this mod of building up the suspense of you. Especially, I love the first run. The first run where you go there and you're like, "Oops, we're a couple days too late. Everything's fucked. The whole ship is freezing. We're dying. Like we're gonna die. We just need to get as much information as we possibly can now because we're gonna freeze to death very soon." And like seeing the aftermath of all this brutal slaughter is great. Like it's such a great tension building thing, knowing that you're going to have to fail and then come back and Bob's like, whoops, sorry, yeah, let's send you back a couple days earlier and give it another shot. Was really great. And by the way, we finished this on our third run. If you count the false run. I call it a false run, but counting that one, we had two more actual runs after that, and we beat it in that second one. And that is actually one of the problems I have is that while that's fine, I don't want to be sitting there playing Time Stories all night with one mod. I wanted a little more of a challenge. I thought this was kind of easy. Maybe it's just because we happen to do the right things. And like, of course, I was going to play the dog right away. No doubt about it. As soon as I saw there was dog, I was like, ooh, dog, I'm the dog. Guys, hey, I'm the dog. We're just going to do this. And the dog's super useful. I love the dog pack that gives you the bonuses. And I hated using them because it felt like they were dying even though they were just exhausted. I'm like, no, I don't want to use my doggies. But it's super helpful. And it just, and especially his ability to not go insane kind of breaks the game. But it made it a lot easier than I think it would have been otherwise. Especially since he's also really strong, too. Like, there wasn't a lot of downsides other than, oh, I can't read this. I'm just going to give this to you. But again, it's very helpful because I don't have to worry about reading the thing that makes you go crazy. So I think the dog is kind of like almost a cheat code for this mod, but I'm fine with that because it was cool thematically. Other characters are kind of generic, not all that interesting. I just keep thinking back to the very first Time Stories mod, The Asylum, and like characters that had cocaine habits and were kind of weird and freaky. There's not a lot of characters in the subsequent mods that were super interesting. You have to be a dog to become interesting, apparently. So that's a minor quibble as well. But the different types of tasks that you do are interesting. You have to decide whether or not to even interact with some of the people in whoever's left on the ship, because they could just be red herrings, and it's like, oh, do we help the captain because he's not going to be much use to us? Do we help this crazy person? He's going to either attack us or just run away, and it doesn't really matter what we do, but then it does matter at the end. So there's cool little things like that. But ultimately, this mod to me felt very anticlimactic, not just because of what to us seemed easy about it, but also the fact that it just seems like you're like going along, doing your stuff. You're like, oh, getting some clues. Oh, we're at the monolith already. Okay, boy, there must be a lot of this mod that takes place in the monolith. Oh, we just go across a bridge and then we're there. And there's Cthulhu in the ice. And we just gotta win. Like, it was just like 0 to 60. Like, boom, right there, you're at the end. And so, yeah, that was kind of weird. And like, it's not that hard to get into the obelisk if you do the painting thing. And I mean, I just guessed. When this was on our first run, we got to the point where we're just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna. I didn't memorize the position of the painting lights, so I'm just gonna guess. Oh, look, my second guess. That's the right one. Remember that. Then we're gonna come back. We're just gonna get right into the obelisk. So everything about it is very anticlimactic. The final battle isn't all that difficult. We happen to have let the guy go, the crazy guy on that run, so he was there, and oh, that's right. That's another reason the dog made him whimper and cower because he became animalistic, and he submitted himself to me, and that made that fight a lot easier. And another character in our group, I think, had the ooze thing, the ooze trait, which is kind of cool, and so he stuck his head in the ooze and got like a bonus there too. So things just went well for us, combined with the fact that we were just like right at the end so quickly. Very anticlimactic. Also, here's another quibble I have. One of the cool things about time travel should be the fact that you're going to a different time period with its own foibles, things you have to worry about, terrain, hazards, the environment. The first run of this mod illustrates that well. Like, oh, we're freezing to death. That sucks. After that, it's not really a problem. Like, you don't have to mush a dog sled team out across the plains. You don't have to go mountain climbing on the ice, so to speak, ice climbing. You don't have to, like, dig holes in the ice and fish and get stuck in the water and have to worry about hypothermia after that point. And you don't have to, like, try to get the ship free. I feel like they're missing an opportunity to have you do a lot of cool stuff in these time periods. Even, I think, the Pharaoh, the Egyptian mod, which I did not like, it's my least favorite one, even though I think that even had more thematic time period stuff. This one was just like, get there and fight Cthulhu. That's it. Just worry about that. And I'm like, what a waste. You're on a giant freighter stuck in the Antarctic. Shouldn't that be some cool, like, things? Like, I don't know. Even the game K2 had oxygen you had to worry about. Well, and freezing on a mountain. I know it's not a mountain, but it's ice, things, the hazards, the natural weather. So, a little disappointed in that. But overall, I still thought this was fun, and I don't need every Time Stories mod to be this big extravagant thing that lasts forever. I kind of like that we finished it up so quickly, in a way. I just wish there was more meat to it. And yeah, Cthulhu, eye-rolling. I think they could have gone in a different direction and still had the same tension, the same dark theming. But I'm wondering, like, how often are they going to go to that well? Because even the Asylum mod was, I assume you've played this if you're watching this, even the Asylum mod was basically Cthulhu. So how often are we going to have to do that? Oh, one last thing we should talk about. This is where I'll probably get some shit. So there is a a chance in the game that you're going to go insane. Like, insane. Everyone can potentially get one of the insanity cards. But then you might have to draw from the special madness deck. There's like the Eldritch, like if you go really insane and have to draw from the Eldritch deck. And then potentially just die, but also potentially start getting visions. Now, the deck specifically says, do not look at this. If you look at this outside of the game, if you're not actually supposed to because you're insane and the cards are telling you to, if you just decide to look at them, then you're breaking the rules of the game and you have to start breaking your beacons. Well, we use our beacons anyways. So I said, fuck it. And I looked. No one else in my group did. And I'm not going to tell you here what it was because you probably were a better person than me and didn't look. But I wanted to look. I would not be able to not look, knowing that there was I've never played this mod again, and knowing there were cards I didn't get to see. And it leaves the door open for some interesting things in the future. But it also makes me disappointed that they didn't put more cool stuff like that in not only this mod, but the last couple. And so I'm hopeful that Time Stories is going to sort of course correct and become as interesting as Prophecy of Dragons was, where it wasn't just this big epic mod, but it was also tying in the larger world building of like your arch enemies of the Time Agency and all that. And I'm hopeful that this is going to be a step in the right direction, and the next mod will be even more amazing. They've already announced, I think, 3 more. I hope so. So this one is okay, pretty decent, not great, but still good enough, and I still love Time Stories. So hopefully you feel the same. I would love to know what you think. If you still are watching this, that means that you've already played through it, and I want to know what your thoughts were, what you liked, what you didn't like, so on and so forth. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.